Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, February something something. It is 8:35 a.m. here in Florida, and I'm going to be hanging out with you guys for probably 30 minutes to an hour. Not going to be too long, just a little laid back morning coffee session, talking Star Wars, talking whatever else you want to talk about, man. Let's hang out. I did a little Star Wars Explained podcast last night, a little live YouTube interview and discussion last night. It was a really good time, man. It was with Alex and Molly and Thomas. I apologize, I can't remember his last name. Thomas Harper. And the three of them together are like, I mean, Thomas, I believe, won the Star Wars Trivia, like, Schmodown Championship. He has the belt behind him. And the three of them together are just so proficient and knowledgeable about the intricacies of the lore and whatnot. It was real. I just kind of felt like a fly in the wall listening to them talk about things that went not necessarily over my head, but I mean, you guys know I'm not the most in-depth lore aficionado when it comes to any of this stuff. So it was kind of neat to kind of sit back and listen to them and have a little bit of input here and there. But yeah, check it out. I'm sure it's archived on their YouTube channel. But it was a good time, man. I want to have like a one-on-one with Thomas sometime. He was a really knowledgeable dude. He's an Army JAG officer, apparently. He's got a couple really interesting podcasts that I have not listened to yet, but they kind of revolve around, I guess, legal ramification. I don't know, the legality of certain things in the Star Wars universe and various other sci-fi franchises. But yeah, anyway, welcome guys. Elias HG, what music was that? Sounded amazing. That particular, right before the stream started, it was called Earth Appears. I'll type it in the chat. Earth Appears, Brian Bolger. That's the song that played right before the stream began. But good to see everybody. JJ, Trevor, Demetrios, Jack, fun stuff. Frozen on Broadway. Then came the rain. The Cuckoo Kaju. Sapity, what's going on, man? Elias, Ben, Alan, Star Wars Santa. Good morning, Star Wars Santa. I stumbled across your channel not too long ago, Star Wars Santa. When was that? It might have been a few weeks ago, where I would occasionally, man, I will just go on YouTube and search for like Star Wars and then filter for anything that is currently live. And I might just throw on something that's live for a few minutes while I'm doing the dishes, you know what I mean? And I put yours on, I want to say it was a couple weeks ago. And tuned in while I was doing the dishes for a little bit. But yeah, that's something that I like to do from time to time. I will, like I'm doing it right now, see who's live. Me, I'm live. And then some people playing Battlefront 2. But I like doing that. Like, if you just go on YouTube, search for Star Wars, and then filter it for things that are live right now. It's just kind of fun to ping pong from stream to stream and hear people talking about Star Wars occasionally, you know. But anyway. Mr. WHG, of course there's going to be spoilers in here, so if you haven't watched the latest episode, just, I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah. Mr. W says, HG, what did you think of Cad Bane's first live action appearance? I thought it was one of the best, I guess, from cartoon or from animated series to live action transitions I've ever seen. I thought he was perfectly menacing. I thought he looked great. He sounded great. It was the same voice actor, obviously. I thought they did him his first live action appearance great justice. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. Don't you have a dishwasher? Yeah, I do. What do you mean? As in, when I say do the dishes, I mean like it's not like the dishwasher puts them in the cabinets for you and loads itself. I mean, one day maybe we'll live in the Jetsons era, but yeah. I would love to get, cause you know, we Star Wars fans, we kind of live in this bubble where we're in the know when it comes to a lot of these characters, right? We know their history, their past, their past conflicts. And I would love to talk to someone who is just looking at these series and these characters for the first time. I mean, I would be willing to bet. Now tell me if you think differently, but because I'm curious about this, but I would be willing to bet that the overwhelming majority of people who watch The Mandalorian or even watch the Book of Boba Fett never watched the Clone Wars or Rebels. Would you think so too? I think the overwhelming majority of people who are watching these two series have never watched any of the animated series. I think maybe we take for granted that we are familiar with a lot of this stuff, you know. But I'm curious what they think of these characters that for them, it's the first time they're seeing them. You know what I mean? Does it feel kind of out of left field where this blue space cowboy with a big hat comes walking on screen, and there's obviously history there, but that most people probably have no idea what the history is, you know? Does it feel weird to them to have all these characters thrown in that they've never spent any time with prior to these shows? Just kind of like have an I don't know. Interesting. Dr. Mafungo. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I always yeah, it was a good time. I always like talking to Alex and Molly, and they're good people. Yeah, I like, as I was going to sleep last night, I was like, did I barely talked? Just because I enjoyed listening to them. They're so insightful and knowledgeable. The three of them, Thomas, Alex, and Molly, are so knowledgeable with when it comes to lore or even predictions or yeah. But I chimed in as much as my dumb brain would let me. But anyway, Sapity, good to see you, man. I find it strange that Din did not enlist aid of other Mandalorians. Figured the Darksaber would give him the right. The Freetown people sure can fight, but they're not warriors. Yeah, how much of the Mandalorian folks are left? Is it just the Armorer and the Favreau voice guy? What is his name? I'm sure there are more, but that's just the only two we saw. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm assuming I think Cobb Vanth is going to be fine, but his attack might rally the troops in Pelgo. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays. They have so much, in my opinion. We'll have to see how it plays out. You know, it's hard to predict these things. Or put some expectations on these things before you see them. But in my brain, they have a lot to do in the final episode to kind of tie up all these loose ends. Unless it's going to end on a major cliffhanger, and it's not going to like kickstart the ground war, the street war, the turf war until season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett, if there is going to be one. Yeah, anyway. Trevor Oakes. HG, how did you get to know Star Wars Explained? I've been talking to them for, I mean, man, I feel like, golly, I feel like it's been forever since I've been talking to them. But I first met them, in 2000 and... I want to say it was like 2016, maybe 2015 or 2016. Me and my wife were up in Atlanta. I've been a Braves fan my entire life. So every year we try to go up to see a Braves game. And this year, it was either 2015 or 2016, but we went up to Atlanta for a Braves game for my birthday. And I knew Alex and Molly lived around Atlanta, so I shot them a message, and we met up for lunch and a beer at a place called Not Your Parents' Basement, or Your Parents' Basement, I think is what it's called. Your Parents' Basement, Georgia. Yeah, okay, so, yeah, is it? Yeah, My Parents' Basement is what it's called, My Parents' Basement. And it's a bar, a tap room, a comic shop that also has food. So we got some lunch, a couple beers, and hung out and talked. That's the first time I ever met them. Again, I think that was like 2015 or 2016. During sometime in May, when my birthday is. And then I hung out with them again in 2017 at a Battlefront 2 event in San Francisco. And then again in 2019 for EA Play. So I've met up with them 3 times. Yeah, they're good people. I like hanging out with them. But anyway. Nick Koss, thank you so much for the first super chat in channel support. I greatly appreciate that. Let me take a quick sip of my coffee. Nick Koss says, chapters 5 and 6 feel Clone Wars style, or Clone Wars in style. Like they should rename the show to have multi-character arcs instead of spin-off shows. Hope that makes sense. It makes complete sense. We actually talked about that last night on Star Wars Explained live stream podcast thingy. How maybe when all of these shows come out, they will be under like a different name, an umbrella name that kind of brings them all together and almost like the Tales of the Bounty Hunter. Is that what the book series was called or something like that? Yeah, you're right, Nick. Like, if this is the way future Star Wars shows are going to go, where, the Book of Boba Fett, 2 episodes, he's barely in it, doesn't speak at all, doesn't, Fennec Shand talks for him, in that power move. But if this is the way future shows are going to be, it's going to be, I guess we'll get used to it, but right now it feels a little strange, for sure.
So many
one
Star
sec.
Wars shows / movies lean on fan service / knowledge that it's rare to get just an original, unrelated to anything else / the movie trilogies.
Man.
Story. It's my own personal gripe with Star Wars.
Iron Honey, thank you so much. It's not just your own personal gripe, it's my personal gripe as well, Iron. Give me 1 sec, man. Give me 1 sec. But yeah, Nick, I'm in complete agreement. Like at this moment, it feels very Clone Wars style. Curious if other, like the Ahsoka show and Rangers of the New Republic, if that's still happening, if those shows are going to ping pong between characters and stuff like that and arcs that stray away from the main, I guess, character and the main title of the show. Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's weird to have it named The Book of Boba Fett and then have 2 episodes fully Din, fully Luke Skywalker, fully Grogu, fully Cobb Vanth, R2-D2's thrown in there. We got Cad Bane's now in the mix. Definitely feels very Clone Warsy. Perhaps, like I said, once it's all said and done, 10 years from now or whatever, we'll look back and it will be all under this singular name, and there will be like a chronological order of how you have to watch all these shows, But yeah. Anyway, Nick, cheers, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll see how if it continues to feel Clone Wars style as not only this show progresses, but other shows that have been announced, if they feel the same as well, And Iron Honey, thank you so much for the channel support as well. Iron Honey, let me take a quick sip of the water. There we go. Iron Honey says, so many Star Wars shows / movies lean on fan service / knowledge that it's so rare to get just an original unrelated to anything else / the movie trilogy story. It's my own personal gripe with Star Wars. I am right there with you, Iron. That's why the first season of The Mandalorian is my favorite of the 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. It's my favorite, including the Book of Boba Fett as well, because it basically stood on its own 2 feet and didn't rely on what you're complaining about, prior knowledge or characters that we're already familiar with. The first season of The Mandalorian was just a fresh, brand new kick in the door with an entirely unrelated original story. Of course, it devolved or evolved, whichever way you want to look at it, into a bunch of cameos and whatnot, and things we are already familiar with. But yeah, Iron, I'm in complete agreement. I've always said that I've always been kind of the new. I want new stuff guy. Give me new characters, new stories that are not related to anything that we're familiar with, because that is the true bread and butter of future Star Wars storytelling. I mean, how many times are we going to continuously bring back and rehash characters that we've seen 1,000 times on screen or in stories, I know people love that stuff. I People were super excited for a Book of Boba Fett show. People are super excited for a Kenobi show. People are super excited for an Ahsoka show. And while I'm excited for those things, my brain goes, but I want new stuff. Like, all the shows that have been announced have somebody's name in it that we're already familiar with. Like, to me, that's a little boring. Yeah, I'm with you, Iron. I'm 100% in agreement. I hope that once we get a lot of this stuff out of the way and these stories told, and these familiar characters, brought back again with their own new stories in this time period, I really hope we jump into complete unknown areas when it comes to Star Wars, because yeah, that's to me that's the interesting stuff. It's weird when I see people want like a Darth Vader show or a Darth Vader movie, and I'm like, dude, Darth Vader's been in a lot. Do we need more Darth Vader shows and movies? I mean, really? Like, Disney and Lucasfilm, they have like endless creativity at their disposal. They could hire any writer, any director they possibly want to make a cool thing in the Star Wars universe. And you want a Darth Vader movie? Come on, man. Let's breathe some new life into this thing, right? But anyway, I'm with you, Iron. I appreciate that. You are not alone in that sentiment for sure, my friend. Gotta alternate between that coffee and water. There you go, man. JK says, Episode 6 felt like it was held back by the Luke/Grogu thing. Tatooine story making this little progress over the 6 episodes doesn't make much sense to me. At least we'll see. Yeah, we definitely will see. It's hard for me to... I've said this before, but it's hard for me to kind of like judge the whole picture by just singular episodes. Oftentimes when a series or even a season ends and you get a bird's eye view of what just happened rather than individual episodes, things kind of feel more cohesive and you see, this is what they were going for. This is what the plan was. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll see. We will certainly see. It's really interesting to me that the Luke and the Grogu stuff, even the Ahsoka stuff, was even the Cobb Vanth. Well, I guess Cobb Vanth makes sense, Tatooine, but like, it's really interesting to me that so much of the Mandalorian, Grogu, Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, that the 4 of them, was told in the Book of Boba Fett. Like, these major consequential and monumental and significant events that happen to characters in The Mandalorian, main characters of The Mandalorian, happen to them in the Book of Boba Fett. So, like, if somebody's watching The Mandalorian 10 years from now, and they finish Season 2 of The Mandalorian, somebody's going to have to be like, hey, now you got to watch Season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett before you move on to Season 3 of The Mandalorian, because there's some really big stuff that it's Marvel. It's Marvel. And I don't know if I like it, but we'll see the big picture of it, right? Disney is just using old characters and stuff for money grab. I wouldn't call it a money grab. I mean, Filoni is involved. He loves these characters, and I mean, you could say the same thing. Like, George Lucas put Boba Fett in the prequels. Like, okay, I mean, this is not a new thing. Like, Disney did not create the rehashing of characters. Darth Maul came back in the Clone Wars, for God's sakes, right? So, like, Disney did not invent the idea of using old Star Wars characters again and again and again, It's been a thing in Star Wars since conception, basically. Clone Wars had episodes all over the place, not in one story. I don't mind how they are doing it with Boba. Yeah, Charles, I don't mind either. It just feels strange because from the outset I didn't expect that. You know, a show titled The Book of Boba Fett, and then it goes off on these 2-episode tangents that really have nothing to do. Well, I mean, it obviously does impact the story of Boba Fett. It has something to do with Boba Fett. It's just kind of unexpected to me, you know. But yeah, I like it if this is the way they're going to do it and kind of put multiple shows under one umbrella. It's cool. It's cool, you know. Pink, whoa, what's up, Pink Milk? Good to see you, man. I want to see Grogu and Din split the Darksaber Kyber to make a little Darksaber. Passes down from father to son, not a Padawan-master relation. I dig that. Something new and different right there, Pink Milk. There you go. Everybody go subscribe to Pink Milk, not only on YouTube, but podcast. Just search Pink Milk in whatever what do you call it, a podcatcher? Podcast app you use. It's good stuff, man. Justin, why are you yelling? Why are you yelling, buddy boy? Techno, thoughts on Star Wars Eclipse? I think I haven't looked it up. Has there been anything new? Star Wars Eclipse. I haven't looked it up since day one of that trailer, but it looks incredible. I'm not too familiar with many of. Let me see if I've played any of their games. I don't know if I have. Let's see. I'm not very familiar because I think most of their games come out on the PlayStation, right? So I haven't owned a PlayStation in like 10 years. Okay, so the only game I've ever played of theirs is Heavy Rain, which was great. I remember Heavy Rain being like, okay, so I owned a PS3 in 2010. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, I didn't get a PS3 until like 2011 when the Blu-rays came out. The Star Wars Blu-rays came out. So then I got Heavy Rain. And I remember like playing Heavy Rain and being like, oh my god, this is such a monumental shift in graphics and gameplay. I thought it was incredible. But no, that's the only game I've ever played from them. And there was like a I'm so out of the loop with this kind of stuff. There was like, I'll have to read about, oh, here's a Wikipedia hostile workplace reports. I'm so out of the loop with this kind of stuff. I know there was some controversy about was it working conditions, or I'll have to look into this. That's how far out of the loop I am. Don't confuse my ignorance on topics for not caring. I just don't pay attention to much shit on the internet. So let's just say that. If there's a story, chances are I don't know shit about it. So I apologize. Riding that Rancor like a bantha. You think that's going to happen? I think so. I think so. Who do you think will win, Boba or Cad Bane? Mystery. I'm gonna go a little, take a little detour, and I'm gonna say Mando. I'm gonna say Mando is gonna beat Cad Bane. I know everybody wants a rematch, but I'm gonna say Mando is gonna kick some Cad Bane ass. But we'll see. We'll see. So many pikes are going to get eaten. There you go. Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen, right? Balls to the wall, Boba Fett, Rancor action. Cad Bane's live action intro was so well done. Where'd it go? So well done. Really made him an absolute menace. Also, I love Cobb Vanth's character. Yeah, I said earlier, I think it's probably the best like animated to live action transition, or I don't even know what the right word would be, that we've seen. He was stripped down to bare bones, as Thomas Harper said in last night on Star Wars Explains podcast. Stripped down, bare bones, just pure Western, absolutely menacing. As soon as I saw the silhouette in the desert, like walking towards camera, I instantly went, "Oh, that's Cad Bane." Like, and it's not something that I ever expected or predicted or whatnot, but it's just I was like, "Oh my god, that's Cad Bane." It's weird. It's strange. Cool, but strange. My brain was like, "What?" That was neat. Anyway. Oh. Nick Garza, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this morning. Nick says, any chance we will get a Battlefront 3? I'm sure in the distant future that will be the case. It would be cool to get some Mando and Book of Boba Fett stuff thrown into a new Battlefront game. But Nick, like, I'm not holding my breath for a specifically a Battlefront 3. I do know that EA is working on a new first-person shooter, a new Jedi Fallen Order sequel, and a new strategy game from the developers of XCOM, I believe. I think that's the trifecta of what EA has coming into the Star Wars realm. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. You guys are probably more familiar with it than I am. But, Nick, I would never say never, but I would suspect that it will be a very long time before we see a Battlefront 3. Because Battlefront 2, sure, it had a little rough start, I suppose, but I think it really eventually found its footing. It would have been really cool if they continued. It would have been really cool if they continued updates. Like, I know at the beginning they said you'll never have to pay for DLC, blah 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 blah. But like, I would pay $10 for Mando DLC. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that Battlefront 2015 having all these paid DLCs really split the community. Like, somebody might not have the Death Star DLC, therefore they can't play Death Star DLC with their buddies, and eventually maybe the Death Star DLC dies. But, Battlefront 2 eventually got so good, encapsulated so many different eras, that it was a shame to see it come to an end. They had a fantastic team working on that game, and that could have been like, that game could have been future-proofed. They just could have, like, continuously added to it for like 10 years, updated graphics, added to it. It just could have become like the Battlefront game that was just like a Counter-Strike, right? Like a Counter-Strike. I mean, Counter-Strike Source was around forever until Global Offensive came out, so you could just continuously make new stuff and boom, 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 boom. But hey, obvious. Oh, one sec.
Me, but all the fan service seemed to stop the plot of the show. It wasn't bad, it just doesn't belong into Bob. Also, Max Rabo wasn't in the building when it blew up.
Darth Elsa 66. Darth Elsa. Is that Elsa? Elsa as in Frozen? Darth Elsa. But anyway, Nick, I appreciate that, man. We shall see. I'm just looking forward to all the games that have been announced. Like Ubisoft is making an open world Star Wars game. EA has a first-person shooter, Jedi Fallen Order sequel, and a strategy game coming out. I'm sure there's other studios and publishers that are in the mix with Star Wars games now that the exclusivity rights of EA have been taken away. We're gonna get more Star Wars games, So we'll see. Darth Elsa, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this morning. Elsa says, maybe it's just me, but all the fan service seemed to stop the plot of the show. It wasn't bad, it just doesn't belong in the Book of Boba Fett. Also, Max Rebo wasn't in the building when it blew up. Yeah. Yeah, we had that discussion last night. Was Max Rebo in the building? Alex from Star Wars Explained said no. I guess he went like shot for shot and wanted to see if Max Rebo was in the background. And we decided, he decided that he wasn't. Yeah, I'm sure Max Rebo survived to see another day, right? But yeah, it feels, it's not, like you said, it wasn't bad, but you said it just doesn't belong in the Book of Boba Fett. It's hard for me to completely agree with that, just because we don't have the big bird's eye view of the series yet, and how all of these shows are eventually going to be interconnected, if that's the move moving forward, which it seems to be. But it definitely feels strange. I will say that. I don't know if it doesn't belong yet because we don't have the big picture, but it definitely feels strange. Doesn't mean that it's bad, just like you said, but it feels strange to have 4 episodes that are just Boba Fett heavy, backstory, Tusken Raiders, Boba Fett, this pretty great lead into present day, and then all of a sudden the ship takes a hard turn into a completely new direction, and we don't see Boba Fett for basically 2 episodes, and it's Mandalorian, and then what, Luke Skywalker and Grogu and R2-D2 and Ahsoka and Cad Bane and Mandalorian. It feels like, the joke is it's Mandalorian 2.5, 2.5, which is true. Seems that way. But it's not bad. It feels strange. I'm definitely with you. It did pump the brakes on the momentum of like Boba Fett's the crime world and his rise to power and all of that was building up to maybe what we're going to see next Wednesday. But it feels strange. It's hard to put into words because it doesn't feel like the same show that we've had the first 4 episodes, right? It feels like The Mandalorian. And the thing that feels so strange to me is how, again, maybe I'm overblowing this. Maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion. Maybe it's not going to be as complicated as I think it might be. But the idea of like somebody sitting down to watch The Mandalorian years from now, 5-10 years from now, and when they get to season 2 and they finish season 2 of The Mandalorian, now they have to jump over to an entirely different show, The Book of Boba Fett, to watch the first season of that, because there are our main characters from The Mandalorian have major significant events that happen in a completely different show. So you got to jump over to that show to see what happens in the show you were watching, because there's consequences and major significant events that happen in that show that will impact the show that you were watching, It's if that's the way all of these shows are going to go, like Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, The Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian, whatever else is coming down. If that interconnectedness is going to be the future of these series, I guess people like that. I guess that's the formula of Marvel. To me, I would rather have individual shows be individual. Occasionally, maybe dip their toes into the waters of other shows, but like having 2 completely almost unrelated episodes that focus on Luke Skywalker and Grogu and The Mandalorian and Ahsoka does feel strange. Does feel very strange, but yeah, Darth Elsa, I appreciate that. Cheers. It doesn't mean that it's bad, right? Doesn't mean that it's bad. It feels strange. Yeah. Anyway. Cheers, Elsa. Jennifer Beals was actually a pretty good side character. Yeah, for sure. I liked her. I liked her character. I like how she just wanted to kind of keep the peace and keep this sanctuary running, and almost have it be a safe haven for You know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of like that assassin hotel in John Wick, you know, where no matter what beef you had on the outside, if you walk into these doors, then everything's A-okay. Grab a drink and shut up. You know what I mean? But yeah. No one's ever really gone, Boba Fett. We'll see, right? We'll see. All right, cool. There we go. Sorry, guys, I was reading something. Do you think they will have a movie to tie in the shows once they are all finished tying in Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka? Flippy. You know, I would doubt it. I mean, maybe on Disney Plus. Wow, man, that's tough. I don't know. I would say no. I kind of actually don't want that. I like Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and Ahsoka, kind of this story being told to live in the realm of a show. It fits nicely. I kind of want the movies to be reserved for brand new stuff. You know? The idea of having like a Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Ahsoka movie actually doesn't really excite me at all. It doesn't do anything for me. Yeah. Roy Garzon, do you think Boba's show tarnishes his overall image / cool factor? No. One of my favorite lines in the show is Fennec says, "Living with the Tuskens has made you soft," and he says, "No, it's made me strong." I think Boba, to me, I mean, I loved Boba Fett in the original trilogy. You know, the man with no name. Voiced by Jason Wingreen. He's no good to me dead. I loved him. He was a strong, silent type. It was just a great background character. To say that what's going on in the Boba Fett show tarnishes his cool factor or image, I think that's a little silly. If anything, it's I like him as he's becoming like a steadfast leader. He has great leadership qualities. What makes a badass? I don't know, run around blasting shit? I don't know. I think like when I think of badasses, I think of strong leaders. I think of like a Gene Kranz in Mission Control. He's a goddamn badass. If anything, man, like you could say the same thing about Boba Fett in the prequels. You could say the same thing about Kid Boba Fett in the Clone Wars. You know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about tarnishing an overall image of cool? Get him, Dad. I mean, you could say, or Yippee Skippy with Anakin and Darth Vader. You know. So no, I don't think it tarnishes anything. I think again, I love the line, "Living with the Tuskens has made you soft," and he goes, "No, it's made me strong." I think that's the perfect encapsulation of where the character is today. Yeah. Anyway, get him, Dad. Do you think Luke should get new clothes? It's been 5 years since Return of the Jedi. Yeah. Apparently it's the same backpack, too, from Empire. I guess, what would he wear? if you could have 1 week in the Star Wars galaxy, how would you spend it? So first of all, I have to look at this question as from two different perspectives. So like outside of the films, as a Star Wars fan, I'd want to go to Tatooine. But if I lived in the Star Wars universe, there's no way in hell I would want... Tatooine sucks, man. If you live in the Star Wars universe, if this thing was real, who the hell would vacation to Tatooine, right? I'd probably go to... God, I don't know. I'd probably go... I mean, Naboo is beautiful. I'd probably go roll around in the fields on Naboo. Go swimming. I think that'd be nice. That's what I would do. Sappy. Oscar Rodriguez, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. Oscar says, I don't like how Ahsoka and Luke just know each other from the jump. I was hoping where'd it go? I was hoping their encounter would be tense for both of them. Yeah, I guess I just assumed that they know of one another's presence, that they've maybe had some kind of connection, that they, yeah, I got the vibe that this wasn't the first time that they've met. They're at least familiar with one another, right? So maybe that encounter has happened, that slight tense encounter. I didn't necessarily mind that, Oscar. I kind of liked the level-headedness of both of them when dealing with this new student, this potential Padawan, you know. I thought it was like very, I don't know, I liked it. Oscar, I actually kind of expected Mando to when Mando goes and tries to see Grogu, I actually expected there to be more tension between Mando and Luke. I thought, well, first of all, Oscar, it's kind of funny. Like when Mando was going to this, you know, visit Grogu and see this new school and whatnot, I expected there to be a bunch of students running around and the streets to be populated and like kids with training and Luke Skywalker to be like basically a teacher on the hill teaching a bunch of kids. I didn't expect it to be Luke Skywalker, Grogu, and a bunch of robots building the temples and the huts and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. And I expected there to be some tension, like between Mando and Luke, going into this situation. Like, no, you can't see the kid. He's in the middle of his training. I expected there to be some headbutting there, But I want to see my son, that kind of stuff. But you can't. He's becoming a Jedi. But I love how Luke is giving him the choice, and I hope he chooses the Beskar. I think he will. But yeah, Oscar, maybe that will be explained in a comic or whatever. Who knows? But their initial encounter or their connection through the Force will be explained in the future. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Oscar. Max Rebo is the head of the syndicate. There you go. Yeah, William Nelson says, can we talk about the droids, though? Those were so cool looking, and the CGI of them building the school is so cool. Yeah, I love to see... I loved seeing that. It, yeah, and then what does Din say? Is that a bench? They built him a bench so he can wait around. Yeah, I loved it. Something new that we've never seen before. Like ants building a colony. It was really great. It was really great. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Brand new, not tech isn't the word, but ideas and concepts. It was really cool, man. It was really cool. I like that kind of stuff. Do you think Boba could win the Darksaber from Mando and become the leader of Mandalore? Potentially. I mean, I guess maybe there could be some infighting there. I don't know. I don't know. What I really like about Mando is yes, he has the Darksaber. But he almost... Yeah, so there's an old adage of like, a good leader is somebody who reluctantly leads, right? So you don't want to pick the class. Let's just go with this example. Most of the time, you pick a leader or somebody who is so eager to lead or be the class leader or whatever. They're usually not that great of a leader. Somebody who like is wants to be a leader so bad. I want to be a leader who vies for power. That's not the person you want to lead. You want the person who's reluctant to lead, who shines under pressure, who doesn't seek power, but when power comes to him or her, they wield it with respect, and they know they don't seek anything. I don't know. It's not for personal gain. Does that make sense? It's oftentimes better to go with the reluctant. You don't want a Kim Jong-un. You want a reluctant leader. You want somebody who doesn't necessarily want the power, but when push comes to shove is willing to step up and respect the power. Does that make sense? And Mando, to me, fits that bill. He's like the reluctant leader who has fallen into power, who has fallen into having this Darksaber, which I guess gives him I don't know. I don't know. Does that make sense? He doesn't seem eager to take power. He doesn't seem eager to want power, to wield power. But yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. All right, there we go. Okay, guys, that's almost an hour. That went by quick. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we were at like 40 minutes. I look over and we're at 56 minutes. But yeah. All right, so what do I got planned for today? I'm hoping to throw up a little predictions video in the next few hours. Other than that, man, I'll probably end up doing a stream tomorrow at some point. Maybe tomorrow morning for another morning coffee live stream. Yeah, you guys know me. I don't often plan things, so yeah. I just when I feel like making a video, I do it. When I feel like streaming, I do it. But that's how these things go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. To everybody who supported the channel this morning, Ford Explorer Part 2. There you go. Yeah, if you guys haven't watched that video, that's my all-time favorite video that I've ever made. Let's see. Ultimate Guide to Star Wars. Now, it barely has any views, where is it? There we go. Deep dive.
And I make a slideshow.
There we go. Here's probably my favorite video I've ever made. It's very goofy. Give it a watch. It's called Ultimate Guide to Star Wars Canon Deep Dive Part 1. It starts to just go off the rails, and I think it's my favorite video I've ever done. I want to make more videos like this. Yeah, anyway. Cheers, guys. All right, that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of your morning, your afternoon, your evening, wherever you are. on this big old planet. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Cool? Cool. All right, let's go to the mall, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Stay safe out there. Be nice. Don't step in the bullshit. And I'll catch you all on the flip side. Cool? Cool. All right, later, guys.